Good afternoon. Welcome to this discussion. My name is Tamal Datta Chaudhary. I am the Dean and Professor in Calcutta Business School. In this session, I am going to give you a broad outline of a certificate course on financial analytics that Calcutta Business School is going to conduct from 4th of July 2020. It will be an 18-hour long certificate program spread over number of days, which we will notify in the website and in our Facebook page, etc. Now, for the last 5-6 years, way before the pandemic hit us, we have been conducting workshops, seminars in the area of empirical research in finance, financial analytics, and we also have a compulsory paper in the finance specialization area called financial analytics. We feel that students should be equipped with certain tools and techniques for financial sector analysis and also while working in the financial sector itself. Now, as you all know, the financial sector generates data, real-time basis, continuous data, and this data truly is large in nature. This data has two parts to it. One is quantitative data, the other is also qualitative data. Qualitative data, I mean that people express their views, opinions regarding companies, stocks, commodities, etc. Now, this area of financial analytics has kind of gained enormous importance in this COVID-19 pandemic era and its after effects, which are being felt across the economy and also across the globe. There has been disruptions, and these disruptions, we don't yet know whether they are temporary in nature or whether they'll be permanent in nature, whether some jobs will not come back again, how fast job profiles are going to change. All these things are kind of very fluid at this stage. And this pandemic has led to a change in the business landscape. Different sectors have been affected differently. As you all know, travel, tourism, manufacturing, these areas have been hit pretty bad. Air travel, vehicular travel, anything related to tourism, etc., has been affected. Health-related industry, that has been affected. However, there are certain sectors which have been found to be resilient to some extent, and also some sectors have adapted quite fast. One of the sectors that have showed a certain amount of resilience, although it has had pockets of disruptions, is the financial sector. Now, if you look at the housing financial sector, they have been affected. The non-banking financial services companies, they have been affected. But remember, the NBFCs were in a bit of a trouble before the pandemic also hit. The mutual fund sector has seen pressure of redemptions. There has been a lot of cash outgo. The banking sector is struggling to maintain its depositor base. That has come out to be a kind of a major challenge for the financial sector. Now, in this particular course that we intend to conduct starting from July 4th is basically to equip students, give them a broad outline and also hands-on experience on tools and techniques of data analysis which is generated from the financial sector. It would include stocks, stock prices, returns. It would include mutual funds. It would include exchange rate. It would include volatility. It would include interconnectedness among various economies and various other areas. So what we will do in this particular program is that we'll first introduce you to the various kinds of financial data that is available, both cross-section and time series. What are the various areas of application of these kind of techniques? How it helps in portfolio optimization. We will look at specific tools like cluster analysis. Clustering is something which is very important to get an idea about the pattern of the data that is generated in the financial sector. We will be looking at recurrence plots, recurrence analysis. We'll look at answerable learning, bagging, boosting, and things like that. The techniques will be dealt with in detail session-wise. But what is important to understand is that how does one, before applying the tools and techniques, how does one formulate the problem? What is the problem? And remember, these techniques are necessarily not specific to the financial sector. These have widespread usage. And these days, decision making has moved away from an educated guess to data driven, client driven approach. For example, you will be able to, when you look at financial analytics, you will be able to get an idea as to how to get the essence of movement in time series data, association among variables. How does one break down time series data into various components and use them for models, etc. For example, they are now saying that this particular pandemic has led to wage decreases, increased financial risk, change in spending patterns, migration opportunities. So the entire banking sector, the entire financial sector are now looking at clients from a completely different point of view. They are looking at clients not just as clients, but looking at what is the stability of their income flow, what kind of qualities, what kind of qualifications does the person has such that it is flexible to switch from one job to another. The third is whether it is possible for people not to move at all and use the internet platform, use the IT platform to work from a distant location. All these things require analysis, detailed analysis of the clients. A client is not a client anymore. A client comes with all kinds of patterns, characteristics associated with them. Now, these are the things one needs to look at, because eventually, remember, if a client borrows money from a bank and does not repay, then that kind of inflicts a certain kind of injury to the balance sheet of the bank and its long-term sustainability, and we cannot have that. They are looking at data-driven triage, as they say, to differentiate between borrowers who are likely to grow, those who are facing temporary liquidities, whose business models are challenged, whose are structurally impaired. Right now we actually don't even know that once things come back to a normal, which will not be the normal in the past, it will be a new normal. Whether in that new normal, the kind of business that we see today, whether those business models will be working and things like that. This requires looking seriously at data, trying to identify patterns in data. It requires structural modeling of data to arrive at forward-looking scenarios. And remember, these days, what has become extremely important is scenario analysis. Scenario analysis we have been doing in the financial sector for a long time. We have been doing sensitivity analysis, we have been doing simulations, etc. But it has become much more important, and the parameters for doing the simulation has also undergone a change. So, what we will do in the 18 hours that I discussed in the very beginning, what we'll do is basically look at examples, real life examples where these kind of tools and techniques can be applied. It's very important. You know, we can have a large amount of data, throw it into a software, get results, but the point is we have to understand what the results mean. So in order to understand that, we need to have the model in place. We need to have a problem in place. We need to have a hypothesis in place. We need to exactly know where we want to go from here. That drives the kind of data that we are going to collect. That drives what kind of technique you are going to use. And then we look at the efficiency and the performance of our forecasts. So briefly, what we will do is that first we will start off this program with various kinds of financial sector data. What are the characteristics? We'll look at recurrence plots, we'll look at recurrence quantification analysis, we'll look at clustering techniques. You know, it's very important for portfolio optimization to use clustering analysis. It's useful. If you want to do options trading, it is important to do volatility forecasting. And for volatility forecasting, you need to look at cluster analysis. We will be looking at stock price. These things we have been using in the past, but it is possible to use much more refined techniques using technical analysis indicators. You know, it is perfectly possible to construct a cluster with technical indicators like MACD, Bollinger Band, Mesa Sine Wave, RSI, etc. Pull them together, find out a weighted thing, find out around that weighted thing which are the companies day-wise, how are they centered around. And if we can have companies falling under homogeneous clusters, then there is no point in choosing companies from the same cluster. We should do a diversification across clusters. So what the analytic tools help us is that not only are we doing industry-wise diversification, we are also doing cluster-wise diversification. We'll be looking at computational intelligence structures, we'll look at machine learning tools, we'll look at neural network structures, ensemble learning, bagging, boosting. The softwares, the platforms that we will use are Python, R, and other relevant platforms. Together with machine learning tools, we'll also be introducing you and show you the usage of econometric tools and techniques. We'll look at VAR, ARIMA, Arch, GARCH, eGARCH kind of structures and show you the difference between results or optimization where we use either econometric tools or machine learning tools. We will give you a demonstration of the comparison of the different kind of tools and techniques that are used. As I had mentioned in the past, that we will be looking at various kinds of markets. We look at data from the stock market, we look at data from the commodity market, we'll use data from the currency market, so on and so forth, such that we can actually give you a more or less a flavor. There is a difficulty in getting credit risk data from banks because that is their own personal property. They don't share it. So secondary data available from these kind of sources may not be available. But whatever is available in the secondary market domain, that we will use for our particular purpose and our for demonstration purposes. We will have definite sessions where we will impart hands-on training how to use the softwares for understanding and getting meaningful results. Thank you. End live video coding. Now you have to choose whether you will save it or delete it. না আমি কিছু করছি না, তো অপশন দিচ্ছি। If you end, then that will